There's no denying that MrBeast is a significantly accomplished internet personality, okay? First creator to cross 300 million subscribers on YouTube, opening up fast food restaurants, having a candy bar in mainstream big box stores. Like, the guy has done a lot of things, and something else that you can add to his resume is one of the poorest and worst aged takes in all of Twitter, with that right there. Days after Kris came out to address the world that he needed to be living his best life away from his wife and his child, and he would be embarking on his great transitional journey. Everybody at the time just went, yeah, it's probably going to be an issue for you into the future, but MrBeast was steadfast in trying to do what he does best: prove his haters wrong. But to be completely fair, okay, in going back over the statement, Kris isn't my nightmare, he's my friend, and things are fine. And to be fair, right, like, I'm sure Kris is probably a great friend to you, because we're not talking about Kris anymore, we're talking about Ava and Kris with a K, and as such, we need to cast our minds back earlier this week. I know, just a rapidly evolving situation when you had Kris, Ava, whatever. This dude come out and finally make a statement on the allegations, and he was going to be distancing himself from the MrBeast brand. Was it a mutual decision? Was it, okay, you violated the morality clause like so many other things in your past, therefore we now have leeway to terminate your contract? Don't know for sure. Frankly, don't really care, but MrBeast made the appropriate move, because by distancing the brand from Tyson, he could go ahead and continue to employ the hundreds of people that work on the brand, shut out the negativity, and continue on with the positivity. At least that's what he hoped, right? And then especially if you don't address this on his biggest platform, because yeah, he's got a fairly sizable presence over on Twitter, but to be completely honest, there are a bunch of separate, disparate ecosystems all across social media. What gets hot on Instagram won't necessarily catch on Twitter. What's popping over on YouTube isn't going to translate over to Twitch. So if MrBeast took a couple of days, had Kris distance himself from the brand, he comes out with his statement, with his illegalese infused plan, saying that he's going to have this big old investigation, everything is going to be fine. That would be the one thing that he needed to say, and he could just continue to move forward, because that's one way that he can address that, and then just continue to make his incredibly viral content. And to be completely honest, this story, after the weekend, and as rapidly as YouTubers are imploding, you might have been able to skate on this. But here's the thing. Baked into the apology from Kris was relying on one of the accusers, Lava GS, having made claims that, no, everything was above board that they were discussing. Nothing untowards was happening. Sure, he was 13 when we were talking. Sure, I said I wanted to spoil him for his birthday. Nothing was wrong there at all whatsoever, right? And not so much. But after the original statement was posted, I would like to apologize for any of my past behaviors or comments if I hurt or offended anyone. The rest of the apology would be all about, I humbly apologize to anyone I have hurt with my unacceptable social media posts, past actions, and those who may feel betrayed about how I used to act online. No, we're a little bit more concerned with what you were doing offline, as predicated by some of your online private interactions. Okay, specifically, I want to add, I never groomed anyone. Ooh! Let's add another to the list of worst and poorly aged internet takes. The person who gets brought up in these accusations, LavaGS, has vocally supported that they are false. And oh, how the turntables have turned tables in 3 short days, because now we have a new statement from Lava, and well. We have clarification from the guy. Based on the recent screenshots and messages, I would like to say a statement about the Discord. Yes, where a lot of these conversations were going back and forth. A lot of the creepier communications, okay? Just in regards to Lava. As for the 15-year-old that has come out, he has continued to make more claims that I'm going to have to take a look at a little bit further. The 14-year-old over on Snapchat, and now we have this here. This was 5 or 6 years ago, and I thought I had a good memory of the situation, but I was wrong. Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing, man. Like, there's quite a bit to learn from this scenario. A, you don't text minors. The moment that you find out that they're minors, you go, thanks for being a fan, and then you punch out. That's about it. if you're an adult, especially if you're in your 20s, Kris, you don't continue to do that stuff. And B, kids can go ahead and try to justify some crazy situations, okay? A very similar situation and something that went rather viral and ended up in a cancellation back in, 2017 or something like that, was the story of Milo Yiannopoulos. If you remember that one, when he was making the rounds on the podcast, when he was the hot shit out of Breitbart, saying things that happened to him back when he was a youngster, like 8, 9, 10 years old, I forget, or something like that. And he said that, it depends, right? Like, I was more mentally mature than my peers, so what happened to me didn't negatively affect me the same way that it would everybody else. But anybody with a working set of eyes could look at how Milo was comporting himself even during that time at the height of his fame and go, are you sure that wasn't having negative ramifications on you? All right, but the way that you wanted to go ahead and assess that and internalize your own victimhood didn't really comport with the facts, because you were laying down some stuff that was fairly heavy. Need not get into that stuff. I'd have to brush up on the facts specifically to get everything correct. But in broad strokes, well, that's also kind of a description of what was ending up happening. He said everything was fine. But that fits the textbook definition of, grooming and unlawful behavior towards a minor. That's why you can't take the words of a minor or somebody who went through that conditioning as a child. You can't take their word on it, because they're going to have a warped perception of it. That's why there's so many laws on the book, justifiably so, to protect children. Children cannot consent. I can't believe that bog standard statement needs to be repeated for creeps in the back. After reading the chat logs, this stuff was inappropriate and wrong. Surprise! Everybody else who read them was like, yeah, that's wrong. But he was like, no, don't worry about it. It's great. I spoke based on my memory of the situation and still do not remember these conversations, but they definitely happened. These conversations should not have happened with people at the age I was at the time. I strongly condemn them. There you go, man. Okay. I still believe I am not a grooming victim, but these conversations should not have happened with me or any other minor in this Discord. Exactly. That's for other people to assess. That's for potentially a third-party investigative unit, or maybe even accredited institutions to assess. I was a minor in the situation and not the adult influencer who shouldn't have allowed this to happen. I did not see this wrong at the time. This is only related to the Discord server and not any other statements I have already made regarding Ava Tyson. I do believe he clarifies a little bit further. Yeah, only related to the Discord server regarding Tyson. I was referring to the situation. I'm talking solely about the Discord server. I still stand by this. Yeah, applauding MrBeast going in for a third-party investigator, because who knows? Who knows who else is out there? We have 3 people already lined up. You would have to think that there are more that's out there. And like I was saying before, right? Like, okay, if MrBeast made a statement, distance himself from Kris, you could have a little bit of a buffer room, and especially when you see mainstream media running with, Kris Tyson bullied out of MrBeast due to transphobic attacks. Has nothing to do with that at all whatsoever. Strange that you would go ahead and leap to that, but this is the mainstream media after all. And as quickly as YouTuber and influencers are imploding on the regular, run down the list here just within the past month or so. Dr. Disrespect, Nick Rekieta. I forgot about that one, to be completely honest. Holy, I need to run that back. That's one of those things where it just ended up slipping through the cracks because these crazy people just continue to bubble up to the surface. Yeah, Boogie, reaching what you would think, by faking cancer, would be the rockest of rock bottom, but hey, he also got a face tattoo, for Christ's sakes. Now you have freaks and cretins trying to cancel Ninja for having a rather reasonable take on things, but I got a video cooking on that one that'll be coming out here in the near future. So yeah, MrBeast thought that, because most of the stuff is playing out on Twitter, it's a lot different than the audience that I have over on YouTube. I can go ahead and silo that stuff and everything will be fine. Until the attacks start to come for you. Former MrBeast employee, Dogpack404, posted a video accusing Jimmy of constantly doing illegal lotteries, promoting gambling to children, faking videos, and giveaways. Yeah, it's not good, man. I haven't watched the video, okay? Only just simply seen that this one, it's starting to pick up traction, and given the elevated profile of nefarious dealings with people associated with the MrBeast brand right now, it's probably going to get a lot of traction. And this is probably not going to end up going all that well for MrBeast, for the brand, for Jimmy himself, and YouTube as a platform overwhelmingly promoting MrBeast to everybody. We have by no means reached the end of this controversy. I'm sure that there's probably more stuff to continue to come out, and then there's probably going to be more attacks, whether they're viable, whether they're above board or not, on MrBeast himself. And as crazy as 2024 has been on a multitude of different levels, would anybody have guessed there's a decent likelihood that the biggest YouTube channel in history could end up falling? Could not have seen that one coming. But in closing, I will once again ask, has Kris become your nightmare after all? Don't think that he'd say it in public, but I would imagine the answer to that question has certainly changed, at least in private. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.